This is 0620. Thank you for watching my video. Also, you can on these social media platforms. And if you want to see some great art, hit my DeviantArt art page up. And finally, support my Patreon. Thanks. All right, guys. This is me, Crimson 60620. I thought about just doing a straight gaming stream, but like quite literally, I was bored. I was bored. Not even bored. So this morning, I actually met up with a new friend. We talked for a little bit. I went to go ride my bike because I need to work my fat ass out, and I came home and did nothing. I actually watched Monty from Hannibal's and Monty's Shit Show do a cool piece of art. Um, but other than that, I'm just talking shit on the internet. So I figured, why not actually, let me move my mic a little bit closer to me. Why not actually get on the internet and do some shit? I'm already gaming and I was listening to some podcasts while I was gaming. So why not do a motherfucking video about the shit? So, yeah, woohoo! What's going on, guys? It's the weekend. I feel like I really didn't work that much this week, except for Tuesday, Monday, and fucking Friday. Like those motherfucking days was long as shit. Especially Tuesday and Friday. Oh my fucking god! Like they were awesome. They were over. And by the way, I am green screen, green lettering shirt. Anyway, I know I actually tried to get to this video a little bit earlier last time, didn't quite finish it, so I want to actually come back to it, finish it, and yeah, give my thoughts about it. What else? What else? Oh, if you actually take a look at the chat, and let me actually just look at restream chat. Restream chat. Copy and paste this. You go to my Streamlabs link and actually look at some of the t-shirts I designed. Use my own artwork as a design on the t-shirt, and let's get this shit going. So, yay, let's have some fun. By the way, since we're doing that, let me just double check something to make sure shit is working right. Just in case y'all want to click on some of my links. I was looking at the links last time and I realized that I probably need to like tone down the frequency of the links. So, CloudBot, turn this shit back on, and all right, yay, shit, that should work. All right, so let's get started. So let's just give an overview of what I need to do today. I want to actually get another priest, so I want to get the Deco priest and probably the a priest, high priestess set. But my weapons are kind of looking kind of shitty right now. Let's see. And of course, I'm gonna go over the video. Fuck. Put that shit in there. Put that shit in there, motherfucker. Put that shit in there. I learned the benefit of having a fucking bedroll. And sooner or later, I'm gonna fucking kill that bat. But what do I need to do right now? So let's look at some of the improvements I fucking made. So I have an improved armorer's bench. That's the traditional one. I need to get an improved. Let's see. Oh, yeah, because I'm about to light this motherfucker up, killing me with my. Whoa, that shit pissed me off. All right, so let's get some more steel fire. And what do I need for this shit? How much of this shit? Will I be able to get? No, don't need that. What do I need to get? Because I need to actually get a improved carpenter's bench and an improved no, that was improved carpenter's bench. 35, and I have the 75. And I really can't do much because I actually want to get some. I want to get some fucking thralls, like seriously. Some great fucking thralls, and let's see, I need 10 of those. Not 25. Split the shit. No, I actually need 7. Wait, let me think about it. I need 7. I have 28 in my blacksmith table. Improved tannery, hardened brick, got the wood. I can find the wood. And 30 rope. There we go. I need about 200 hardened brick. And while I'm letting this shit cook and actually going to my thralls next and let those motherfuckers cook. So that's... So I need 195. How much would this yield me? Nowhere near enough. Can I at least get some steel out the group? Obviously, then I would have to put more steel fire back in. Obviously. Fuck me. Let's listen to the content, but let's go.
It's all for now. All your wrongs will be redressed. Yes, it's all for now. Someone's got to be oppressed. Yes, it's all for the best.
Alright, and I know I started this video out like a couple of days back. I kind of want to just finish it up. It's a 20-minute video, so let's go.
Say, for the sake of argument, you've got this friend. You know, that one friend? You were buddies in high school, but don't really see each other anymore except online. And you used to argue about politics for fun when you were teenagers. But as you've gotten older, you've drifted further left, and he's gone sharply right. And your arguments don't feel so frivolous anymore. And maybe you've agreed that it's better for your friendship to stop getting into it with each other. But you've just posted on Facebook about how college in America should be free and all student loans forgiven. And your friend has left a comment he's not supposed to leave. And you're not supposed to respond, but you really want to respond. So after a moment's hesitation, you shoot him a DM. Why do you care how we'd afford free tuition? Wars are a lot more expensive than education, but you never seem to care how we pay for those.
right, so I'll probably make this point in the last video. This is an interesting conversation. I haven't seen it played out in my neck of the woods because most of the people that I used to hang out in high school really don't keep in touch with them. I learned there was something called life after high school, and I just was so much better afterwards. But let's fucking continue.
We just go into debt and you're fine with it. Anyway, aren't you the party that says deficits don't matter?
Yeah, but you're Democrats. You're not going to run a deficit, you're going to raise taxes, aren't you?
Taxes are generally how governments pay for things.
Spoken like a proper socialist.
No socialist would call that socialism. Only you, and only when we pay for things you don't like. But when we build roads or subsidize corn, well, then you just call it government.
Those are things we can't pay for without governments. But we can pay for college ourselves. We've been doing it since forever.
Well, I hate...
Okay, so you always see this argument about conservatives versus liberals. What used to be liberals, more corporatists now, where you see more people are actually, I don't know how to say it in a nice way, so I'm just gonna say it my way. You see a lot of people that fucking get mad about people spending money to help people that are less fortunate than they are. Like, for real, like, why does it fucking matter to you when you can spend money on not even wars, can't speak today, but government fucking contracts? Like, no, dog, that's not how this works. You're not even spending money on wars. You're spending money on private contractors because reasons. But when it comes to helping out poor people, no, they should bootstraps. Here's some fucking bootstraps, which is kind of ironic, but let's let this continue.
I hate to tell you this, but it's not the 1950s anymore. Time was you didn't need a degree to get a good job. Now you do. And you could pay for college waiting tables, but now you can't. Nowadays, college is a necessity, and people can't afford it.
Why do liberals make excuses for people? If you want to go to college and don't have the money, then you study and work hard and get a scholarship. You earn it, instead of complaining until somebody gives it to you.
Do you think people aren't doing that? Do you think there's millions of unclaimed scholarships just lying around waiting for someone to apply for them? There is no...
Alright, so this is actually a conversation that happens in real life, and you can actually see the goalposts shifting way over to the other side about a lot of frivolous shit. But let's continue.
Nowhere near enough financial aid to get everyone to college who needs to go.
That's not my problem. They can crowdfund, or get a loan, or whatever, go on Oprah. The government doesn't owe you an education on my dime.
It's not...
Well, actually it does, because the government is for the fucking people in a representative democracy. That's quite literally. They are our representative, and they owe us. They serve at our pleasure. They used to serve at our pleasure. Now they serve at the pleasures of corporations. But, they're supposed to work at our pleasure. We are supposed to vote them in. But let's continue.
It's not gonna be your dime. You don't make that much. No one's talking about raising your taxes. If some billionaire you'll never meet gets taxed to put some kid you'll never meet through school, why should you even care?
If somebody robs a bank that isn't my bank, I'm still opposed to robbery. I have a problem with taking money someone earned to give someone a degree they aren't owed.
Why is what happens to poor people not your problem, but what happens to rich people is?
Alright, so that's these are like traps you fall into when you actually have a conversation with conservative people. And not saying that they're bad people. This video actually denotes that they're not bad people. It's just that they have a different way of seeing things. It's like that whole thing of what they did a study and they said more people that are conservative come from a place of thinking about things in a fear, not horribly afraid, but a fear-based system versus a hopeful system. And that's one of the differences between conservatives and liberals. But let's continue.
You think you're gonna be rich someday?
Oh, please, you're the one who thinks they're going to be rich.
I assure you I do not. But then he says something that blows your mind a little bit. Something that makes you think you've been going about this the wrong way. Something that makes all the seeming contradictions of Republican thought maybe make some kind of sense. He says,
Yes, you do. Democrats think they're going to take the money from billionaires and spread it around. Give it to a bunch of poor people so they can go to college, and everyone gets a degree, and everyone gets a good job, and healthcare is free, and minimum wage is $80 an hour, and everyone's saving lots of money. So what then? Everyone's rich. Everyone works in tech, everyone moves to New York and California, and nobody's a billionaire, and nobody's broke, and everyone's great at their job because all they needed was the right opportunity, and no one's better than anyone at anything. It's a fantasy, and we shouldn't have to pay you to LARP it. You think you can make everyone the same, but you can't. There's always a bigger fish.
Yeah, that's where this video starts out. All of the rest of it is preamble. But that's what this video starts off with. This whole idea, this whole commencement of, hey, you can't, like, there's always going to be somebody bigger and badder than you. And there are always going to be somebody, and not just, like, physically. Physically, it's always going to be a difference in the size of people, obviously. But it's always going to be somebody whose rightful place is to be above you, because that's just the way it is. I didn't see the rest of it. Alert. I can't play the alert again. Thank you. Who? I don't know if it was a follow or... shoot. I'm sorry I missed it. I'm trying to game as well as do this. But that whole thing about it's always going to be somebody bigger and badder than you, or it's going to be in a better place than you, or it's going to be above you. And that is a horrible, horrible situation where people actually just believe that shit. But let's continue.
You say, "Did you just quote the Phantom fucking Menace at me?" And he says,
I guess I did, lol.
and that's as good a time as any to drop it. But the conversation sticks with you. See, when you talk to your conservative friend, you operate as though you have the same base assumptions. Belief in democracy, do unto others, etc., etc. If you didn't believe your friend shared these assumptions, you'd basically be calling him a fascist or a sadist. And you conclude that if you believe in democracy, you must believe in equality. And if you believe in equality, you must believe in equal access to education, and must conclude that governments should help pay tuition. And so you give your friend the benefit of the doubt that if he doesn't understand this very simple logical progression, he either hasn't had it properly explained to him, or has at some point been lied to. Because no one could believe in all citizens are equal and always a bigger fish at the same time. But by this thinking, you're treating most conservatives as people who want in their hearts to be liberals, but have so far failed. And
All right, so here's the funny thing about that. And no, that's not what the problem is. And I will tell you this. I've known conservatives. Hell, most of my family are conservatives. It's not that they don't know the task that you're actually telling them. No, they understand that they understand that, you know, we are in a democracy and all that other good shit. But it's not the problem that you're thinking about. It's quite literally, they think there is always a bigger person, and you should know your place. That's the thing. It's you should know your place. But let's continue.
And maybe that's why they think liberals are condescending? What if he doesn't have the same base assumptions as you? Or what if he does, but he has other assumptions you aren't aware of that lead him to different conclusions? He is often misinformed, but what if that isn't the problem? What if he actually believes something else? We've been circling around this one for a while. We've talked about what liberals believe, we've talked about what fascists believe, we've talked about what nihilists believe, or rather what they don't believe, or rather why they aren't actually nihilists. But this is a tough one. What do conservatives believe? Oh god, I'm gonna get yelled at so much for this one. The United States, like much of the Western world, is a capitalist democracy. That's what we're raised in, that's what seems normal to us. And in our normal lives, democracy and capitalism seem to coexist easily. Voting doesn't feel like a violation of capitalism, buying a bagel doesn't feel like a violation of democracy. But sometimes they come into tension with one another. And
So, understatement of the fucking year, and I think it was on my last video where I said that yes, we actually did have some great capitalism, and I agreed with the point that was being made. But now we have corporatism, where corporatism was born and literally is trying to kill their father, capitalism, and trying to screw their mother, democracy. Quite literally, that's what's happening. And we still do have some choice in the matter of who is elected and things of that nature. Barely, but we do have some choice in the matter. But quite literally, things may need to look different than what they are now in order for us to have a more perfect union. But let's listen to the explanation. Let's continue.
Speaking really broadly, when a choice between them has to be made, a liberal is someone who tends to think democratically, and a conservative is someone who tends to think like a capitalist. The operative word here is tend. Liberals are still capitalists, and conservatives still stand for democracy, and the preference for one or the other may be very slight. Nevertheless, which way a person leans reveals their priorities. The democratic framework, or at least a democratic framework, is one citizen, one vote. No matter who you are born with certain or possibly unalienable rights, and any system that doesn't guarantee you those rights is a tyranny. Freedom, agency, and a hand in the strictures that govern you, everyone is entitled to these things. It's an egalitarian mindset. People gain power by electoral process, i.e., when it is granted to them by the masses, with whom the true power resides, and whom the Constitution guarantees the right to take that power away from an electee. Rather than powerful, the elected official is, in a sense, an employee with millions of bosses, all of whom have equal authority. Now, this is the idea of democracy, with the history of democracy being riddled with failures to live up to this ideal.
Alright, so yes, that's like democracy. The best system in the world, but also the worst system in the world. Like, you can't win because it's so fucking fragile. You have to look at democracy as that. A fragile system that is always being attacked on all sides. And shit, I got the hiccups. It is something that we should always work to protect, and we should always work to strive. And that's why you see so many, that's why you have the Constitution as a living, breathing document where you can amend it through either the courts, through Congress, or through a direct referendum, because it's not the perfect system. No, it has never been a perfect system, but it is a perfect system in working to make sure that we continue to get better. Speaking of which, I need to make sure I can craft some. I may need to craft some better armor, but let's continue.
But part of the project of liberalism has been about making the government more closely resemble its ideology. The capitalist framework, by contrast, is that of businesses and markets, where big fish eat the little ones. If two people start businesses in the same field and one makes more profit than the other, that person can make more investments, open more locations, undercut their competitors' prices. The more money you have, the more money you can make. So advantage compounds, where even small failures often mean getting muscled out of the field. Now, with some creativity, a novel cost-saving practice, or a new delivery method, the underdog can still thrive, and this is part of what conservatives like about the market, that it demands this creativity in a live ammo environment. But
Okay, and so capitalism is actually great for this. It is great for actually being able to have it where more people can actually it's I hate to say it like this, it is survival of the fittest in the most social Darwinistic of the word, but it's beneficial. It is beneficial. Get him! Attack! Red 13. That's what his name is gonna be, Red 13. Look at it. Look at it. Oh my god. Damn it. Like, he is motherfucking dead. Don't need that. Let's go, Red 13. Actually, let me just name your ass. Open inventory. Hyena. Alright, cool. Come on, Red 13. Let's go deal with these fools. You're a maker. Let's go.
most will not beat the odds. That's how odds work. Since there will always be more failures than successes, the general trajectory of unregulated capitalism is money pooling into fewer and fewer hands. Things naturally sort themselves into a hierarchy with sharks at the top, a million minnows at the bottom. Since we live with both of these frameworks in our minds, and most of the things we do in our day-to-day lives can be justified by either one, we don't often notice the contradictions between them, and it's easy to imagine whichever one tends to be our default is everyone else's default as well.
So that's interesting. You actually do get that whole dynamic of most people actually have a idea in place where, oh, did I kill a good one? Shit! I needed that Tanner. Okay, you stay put because I don't want you killing anything. Let's bring you all the way over here. I can't place. Oh, and that's a fighter too. Shit. Okay. But most people actually do have an idea of shit. Alright. Don't tell me she killed him. Good, good. Alright. Damn, that little... Oh, God. Oh, man. Shit, a little feisty, but... Alright, back to the video. Back to the video. I can use you later. But a lot of the fucking people that actually have the mindset of where you get a lot of conservative thinking of know your place. And maybe this is why religion never stuck with me, because I was never the whole know your place person. It was, but why? Fuck, I love fucking questioning people, in a sense where it's, you know, give me a reason. It can even be a shitty reason, but give me a reason other than because I said so. And you see a lot of conservatives. This is why you see a lot of conservatives just fall in line with different shit, because they need to fall in line. That's why you see so many of you see where you have a lot of people that liberals, they can't seem to organize. They can't seem to get a group together because it's, you can't have undue power over a liberal because, you know, we're all supposed to be going at this equally, and I'm not just gonna fall in line. And that's a disadvantage that you see with a lot of liberals. It's just that they get to the whole thing of, I'm not following in line. I don't have a place other than my rightful place, which is we're all fucking equal. But conservatives know. That's why no matter who ran against them in 2016, as soon as they saw that they lost, all the Republicans bowed their head to Trump, and quite literally was, even though they said he was a horrible person, they quite literally fell in line because they knew their place. But let's continue.
Well, but issues like poverty, taxation, and education are areas where the contradictions matter, and we are sometimes shocked by how different the world looks to our conservative friends. In conservative thinking, this hierarchy is humanity's natural state. The American dream is here, anyone can make it. No matter who you are or what you start with, you can become a billionaire. But a necessary component of this is anyone can, but everyone can't. We're not all going to be billionaires. There's a finite amount of money in this country. For any one person to have so much more than they need, there must, mathematically, be thousands of people with less. Your conservative friend is often baffled as to what you're even trying to say when you point out there's not enough high-paying jobs or affordable health plans for everyone. There's not...
So, this is one of those things where, you know, you see the difference in the way of thinking, where you actually see that people would actually sit back and you just, what is the whole phrase? The cream rises to the top. And that in and of itself, yes, there are people that work fucking hard for where they get. There are people that actually get to a place because they work fucking hard. And that's not, I don't want to take that away from people. But they're also incredibly fucking lucky. And the tips of the scale can actually be so minute that people don't realize it until they've gotten it, they've achieved it. Who would have thought that an idiot who's screaming on Five Nights at Freddy would be somebody who would be able to be YouTube top single channel or close to the top? Like, nobody would have thought of that. But the shit happens. PewDiePie happened. And, well, I'm not really okay with it because he pushes racist shit. But that shit happens. And far be it from me to say that, no, he didn't work hard. No, he does shit to work hard. Again, fucking racist though. Still, he works hard. And I'm not going to take that away from somebody. But for us to say that it's not incredibly also very lucky, that's also taking away the people that may work hard that just may never achieve it. And and this is going off different from what the point of the video is trying to make, because I've watched the video and I know the point that they're trying to make. But when you have a mindset that everybody, it's effectively you deserve what you get, I'm not okay with that. Because I've seen people who, quite literally, what did they do? I grew up in the age where gaming was as ubiquitous as it is. People that wanted to sit at home and play games all day. Those people were called losers, but because of some lucky breaks, some of those people are now called millionaires. But let's continue.
Supposed to be. The system requires an underclass. Someone's got to clean the toilets. Capitalism then is a proving ground. It's how you demonstrate where in the hierarchy you deserve to be. Do you have more than you need or less? Anything you've got, you beat someone else to it. How resourceful were you? How well did you play? The field is by no means level, but any disadvantage just means you have to work harder. We know people who start with nothing can win big. If you're a shark, you will make your way to the top because that's where you belong. Anyone complaining about how stacked the deck is against them is making excuses for not being better at the game. So disadvantage itself is not a problem so long as it's quote-unquote natural. What's necessary is that advantage and disadvantage not be imposed from without. Free tuition, a high minimum wage, taxes on the wealthy, or any other kind of government meddling, these things must be opposed.
Alright, so one of the things that kind of irks me about this shit is it's natural for there to be an underclass versus an overclass. That shit has changed so much throughout fucking history. You would actually be... First, it was the warlords because the gods were with them. They were strong enough to kill the people they were with. Then it was the monarchies. God was with them because they had the God-given right to be king. Now it's the capitalists. Well, the gods or God must be with them because they were lucky enough or fortunate enough to be born in or make their way naturally inclined to be the best of the best. And you know what's funny? Most of the people that quote unquote have so much money, they weren't just some rogue. They didn't come from nothing. Quite literally, they were partially college educated or their parents were something where they had a cushion, they had a safety net. So they're still not self-made millionaires. And that's kind of ironic. They had some cushion to fall back on. It's like when you had Mitt Romney is, all you have to do is ask your parents for a small loan of 20 grand and you can make it too. Like, how disingenuous is that? Really? And then Trump, he's never been a self-made anything but a self-made failure. Oh, cool. I already have a named carpenter. And I already have a Mildred priest. So I don't need you. Come in, dude. Alright, great. I got everything that I wanted out of this one. Except this. I know it's a box around here. It should be. Ah, fuck. It should be a box around here. Yeah. Alright, but, and this is what I don't get about the people who, quote unquote, don't like government interference. If it wasn't for government interference, in a lot of the cases, there would be more poor people of a different complexion than mine out there. The government actually helps sustain people. It's not that too long ago, 2 or 3 generations, the government made it easy for certain people to get housing. They've had the deck stacked with them. They just don't remember it because they don't remember what their parents or grandparents went through to get to that level. But let's continue.
Because with them, people would end up in the wrong places. Power has to be earned. If it isn't earned, it won't be properly wielded, and then society ends up a mess. Conservatives generally feel what's wrong with the world today can be chalked up to people not being where they should be in the social order.
Alright, let me try to stop in between sentences. So, the whole thing of earning what you got, that has never happened in the fucking sense of anywhere in the fucking world. Like, quite literally, you get people that do take power in some cases. I will give you that. There are people who take power in a lot of cases. But in a lot of cases, they don't earn it. They're given it. And quite frankly, what happens in a lot of cases, people are given a certain amount of power, and then they don't want to give it up. They want to keep that power. And goddamn, I shudder to think if an election goes the wrong way, especially the way some conservatives are empowered, treated as such, maybe there may be a problem. I don't know. The way, especially with the way you get these people that have manifestos talking about how they, talking about how they are standing up for this code of personality. Scary, but let's go.
They used to be where they belonged, but then liberals gummed everything up with their government handouts and forced representation.
And fuck, this is key. So, you ever wonder, like, we can end homelessness right now. We can end homelessness right now. We can end poverty right now. But it's no stomach for it. It's the same reason why, again, referencing the previous video, that everybody has to have a job, because you have to feel like you are earning your way in society, and to an extent you do. But if I was fucking homeless, do you think I would be mad at somebody if they gave me a fucking home? Oh, you wouldn't respect it because you didn't earn it. No, motherfuckers, I would love the fact that I would have a home. That's something that I will find A-O-fucking-K, because I have a home. What I'm gonna say, no, I don't want your home because I need to earn it. No, motherfucker, I'm gonna take that home and love the shit out of it. And if you give me money enough to fucking improve it, I'm gonna do that shit too. Because, it's fucking awesome to be able to have security of where you're gonna fucking sleep at night. It's fucking awesome to know the security that where you're gonna get your next fucking meal. It's fucking security. And if you want to say that, well, that's just gonna make poor people lazy, have you seen rich people? They're not exactly the most motherfucking hard-workingest people there is. But let's continue.
When exactly things were the way they should be is a bit of a moving target. Nowadays, they act like it was the 80s. In the 80s, it was the 50s. And in the 50s, it was sometime before the New Deal. So, following the nostalgia cycle, it's usually about 30 years ago. Conservatives are distrustful of any effort to make society more equal because, deep down, they don't believe equal societies are real. Obviously, all citizens created equal needs to be the government's position, because you can't trust the government to know where to put people, so it has to treat everyone the same. But this is a legal fiction, like corporate personhood. It just means the government leaves the market alone, so the hierarchy can reveal itself. You're not supposed to believe in an equal distribution of power. What are you, 7? This is just the way the world is. Look at alpha wolves, silverbacks. Consider the lobster. You are one single individual within a system, and it is your job to rise or fall within it on the sweat of your own back. You don't change the system. Society's problems come from the rules being too weakly enforced.
So this is another thing where it's just like very, very. If that is the case, then we should have, if the great always rise to the top, then we should have a 100% inheritance tax. When you die, all your money goes to the government to fucking make sure that, everybody starts off equally. And that's the sneaky little thing about it. A lot of people say, well, all things are equal. If you're not, you should work hard and you should get ahead that way. Where it's just like, wait a minute. Think about that for a second. If that is the case, if everything started off equal and people rise to the top, then you wouldn't have the issue of the distribution problems that we have now. But we don't start off equal. We don't have it where, people would rise on their merit. What is the study? What was that study that you tend to stay in the same class that your parents were in, as far as economic class that your parents were in? Because it's about the systemic benefits or disadvantages that are built into the system. And a lot of people don't want to admit that, because then they would have to admit the system is fucked up. It would admit that they didn't work as hard as they think they did to get where they were. But let's continue.
The answer is always more discipline. Your conservative friend thinks you're naive for thinking the system even can be changed, and his is the charitable interpretation. Many conservatives assume liberals, at least the smart liberals, know that the hierarchy is eternal, that there will always be people at the top and people at the bottom. So any claim towards making things equal must be a Trojan horse for something that benefits them. Why would they assume that? Because that's what they do.
So, and this is another key point. This is the reason why you actually get politicians like Bernie Sanders who they don't know what to do with him. They really don't. They say, well, he does this because he wants to get an advantage of it. No, he really wants to fucking help people. Why would he want to take advantage of a certain amount of people? Well, because they want to. And it goes back to the early part of the video where he said that your friend would actually, you expect your friend to learn it this way. And people have a tendency to actually try to push off their way of seeing the world, their view on how the world works on other people. And I'm guilty of this myself. I'm not gonna lie. I am guilty of this myself. We all are. But it just doesn't work that way. People have their own individual ways of looking at things, their own individual ways of viewing the world. Sometimes it's fucked up. I will admit that. Sometimes the way people look at the world is super fucked up. Come here, birdie, birdie, birdie. Get him, dog. Get him. Get him, Red X. I'm sorry. I have to be immature.
The real liberal agenda is to put people in the wrong places on purpose. Boost liberal allies, hold back liberal opposition. You don't want to break up the pyramid. You're just trying to sneak someone else to the top. A lot of conservative contradictions start to make sense through this lens. Of any issue, simply ask, does this distribute power or consolidate it?
And this is actually really, really, to me, this is one of those things where it's just like if conservatives thought about it, just for some iota of a second, just thought about how, wait a minute, maybe these people would have been better suited if they were given an opportunity. And you know what? Maybe it's not about oppressing the wrong people. Maybe it's not about oppressing straight white males or this and that group of people. maybe it's really just giving somebody else a chance to see, hey, maybe you don't need all that power. Maybe somebody else can actually help. And I've actually said it a couple times. And just from this reason and my life experiences that that directly affect me. I would love to have a co-op art show. I would fucking love it. It would be fucking awesome to me to have a co-op art show. I would love to have that shit. It would be fucking awesome. But you would get those people that would be like, what is your ulterior motive? Well, to make money in a co-op art show. Like, a bunch of artists get together, rent a fucking room for an amount, a time, and, sell our art. We share and we don't even have to share the profits of each individual art. We can share the cost of the art show, and whatever you make on your products, you make on your products. That's yours. We just share the cost up front. But some people just can't think that way. They think, well, how can I come ahead? And that misses the whole point of fucking co-op. It's like fucking playing a game. Like, how many times have you played a game with somebody and they're just being the asshole in the game? Not to the motherfucking NPCs, but to you because you're playing a fucking game with them. But let's continue.
If power flows up the hierarchy, they're for it. If it flows down, they're against it. How can conservatives say 15 an hour is too much for flipping burgers, but somehow 11.5 million an hour isn't too much to run Amazon? Because if you're flipping burgers, you're a minnow, and you don't need 15 an hour to be a minnow. But sharks, they deserve all they can get, because they know what to do with it. They use it to give us Amazon.
Okay, so I could have came up with Amazon. Actually, Amazon is not a new invention. They just squeezed out the fucking competition. And by the way, I would rather pay people that's cooking my motherfucking food, the shit that I have to put in my motherfucking body, more, because they're cooking my motherfucking food. I'm sorry. They are cooking my food. So I don't... Man, you don't want to piss off the people that's cooking your fucking food. You want to make sure if they're sick, they can stay at home. They can get paid from not making you sick. You want to make sure those motherfuckers are taking care of you. Oh, this motherfucker. This motherfucker is still up here. You bastard. I've been looking for you. Son of a bitch. Alright, so, yeah, I got a bearer back. How the fuck? I thought I lost this motherfucker. But let's continue with the video.
Don't you want Amazon? We keep assuming conservatives defend the rich because they think they'll be rich someday. And sure, they would love to be. But it's more nuanced than that. They defend the rich because they believe the rest of us need the rich. We'd be lost without them. There should be no shame in being beneath the rich, not if the right people are rich. No shame in being a cog in the machine so long as the machine produces something beautiful. There is a real fear that everyone filling their prescribed role is the only thing keeping us from complete and total, not the fun kind, of anarchy. There is honor in being in your place and doing your best with it, most especially if your place isn't at the very bottom. The thing about hierarchies is they're self-similar on many scales. If you're in the middle, then you serve the king, Valar. But to everyone beneath you, you are the king.
So this is getting more into a lot of the real problem that you see. It's not that people that are believing in this system are actually by nature bad. It's not that. That's not the problem that you actually have. A lot of it is because they want to be able to step on other people because they're just in a better place than what you are. And that's tragic. That's a fucking tragedy. We actually have people who feel that they need to be above you or want to have some value in themselves. That's fucking sad. That's hilariously sad. Because in the end, that only does one thing. That gives yourself more self-importance than what you should actually have. And quite literally, no. No. That's why we see this problem in the world we have today. That's why we see so many people that are scared, that are fucking scared to see certain minorities advance because they think that they're going to go back to the bottom. Newsflash, we're all on the fucking bottom as long as we let people in power control us as much as they do. And it's not even that they overtly have to control us. There's no lizard people motherfucking telling certain people in government. No. In a lot of cases, we do it to ourselves. That's why, if we actually saw people that rose up to try to rally against capitalism, unless you convince the people who actually make the system go, it'd be just spinning your wheels. What is it? Evil wins when good men do nothing? Well, greed wins where people are only concerned for themselves. And yeah, let's keep going.
You've got a good job and a good wage, that gives you some power over people who don't. And getting pissed at those above implies that those below have a right to be pissed at you. And there's a real anxiety that liberals want to make room for those people in the middle by putting conservatives at the bottom. And that those people will treat conservatives the way conservatives treated them. Freedom.
So, yeah, and this is one of the this is the reason why we had Jim Crow laws. This is the reason why we had so many people this is the reason why the one time that the NRA was for gun control is because they saw people who they thought were other gaining the power that they didn't think that they should have. And if you think that you're on the bottom of the status already, and you see somebody is being moved into a place that is equal, well, you're gonna actually think that they're trying to replace you, because if you're in their position, wouldn't you? And that's the saddest thing that you see about conservatives. That's the saddest fucking thing, because being able to live is not a zero-sum game. What, you're not at the top? Oh well, like, okay, it happens, dog. But that doesn't mean that you're gonna naturally be oppressed. It's not that thing. Well, let's continue.
Respect and empathy are looked on as finite resources in a competitive market, just like jobs and scholarships. Also, most conservatives are white men, and so are most billionaires. So, but for the wealth, they actually have a lot in common, which makes it easy to empathize with billionaires and to feel empowered by seeing people like oneself do so well. And white men at the top influence policy in ways that serve people like them, which materially benefits white men in the middle. The well-being of the white billionaire becomes a metonym for the well-being of all white men. A slight on them is a slight on all of us. White men want to believe that these billionaires earned their station, and not that their gender or race got them preferential treatment, because that would imply their own treatment may have also been biased in their favor, and may...
So,
Maybe it's not the liberals giving people power they don't deserve.
so this is actually one of the key parts of the video where it's you actually get some of the reasons why there is so much issues with the power dynamics. It's not that they believe, it's that it's that sneaking feeling that maybe I don't deserve this power. Maybe I don't deserve the place and station that I am. Maybe I'm taking pride in something that I can't control, and if something is turned just a different way, if a dial is turned just a different way, I'm gonna place this motherfucker all the way until I can actually get him home. But yeah, maybe if I turn the dial just a different way, maybe my specific power is unearned, and maybe we need to actually take a look at that. But let's continue.
No matter how much a conservative believes in earning one's place, they have always in the back of their mind an image of what society should look like. And any discrepancy between imagination and observation must mean foul play. This feminist is too respected, this black superhero is too popular. Can't be because they're worthy. Someone must have put their hand on the scales. Someone got a freebie, or played the race card, or faked a scandal. This means even though they claim the hierarchy is natural, what they will or won't accept as legitimate is a gut feeling. If they...
So, and that's the thing, you saw it. Whoa, you know, somebody in Marvel must have paid to have Black Panther sell out the way that it does. It can't be that good. Or wait. Disney is actually paying to sell out seats for Captain Marvel. Not that Disney movies actually have an undue advantage when it comes to, you know, the amount of media attention that it gets. Not that Disney has bought up like some big, huge ass properties. No, Disney is paying money to the theaters unjustly, or it's because black people are going to see this with, you know, more than once, which was true, because it was a black movie. No, this is a good ass movie, and it's finally great to see representation that wasn't just Wesley Snipes. Yeah, I still remember all the Blade Trinity, but you know, there are some parts we want to forget because how the fuck are you gonna tell somebody to call you Blade on set? But you know, I digress. You know, but let's continue.
They like what they see, they take credit for it. If they don't, it's the left's fault. And what does it say about them that they see a bunch of white male sharks and think, yeah, that's authentic? The innate authenticity of wealth and power is the starting point. Like, okay, bear with me. You know when they open the door to Kingdom Hearts, and on the other side there's Mickey with his shirt off, and you're like, why would Mickey with his shirt off be on the other side of that door? And the answer is, I don't know, we'll figure it out in like 7 games. Rich people believing it's good for everyone that I'm rich is the starting assumption. That's Mickey with his shirt off. And conservatism is the pile of games where they make up reasons why that might be true after the fact. It's a retcon. This hierarchy is not democratic. It's birth by sleep, a fragmentary passage.
Okay, now I didn't actually finish playing that game, which I hear was worth it not finishing playing that game, but it just makes sense when you start off with the assumptions that because this is the way things are, it's right, it's natural. Not that it's been forced upon us. Not that it's been in a system where, you know, hey, people always grease the wheel for their chosen amount of what the system should actually be. No, when it's because reasons, it's right, and let me work my way back. It's the same thing you see from people who fucking believe in flat earth. Like, oh no, the earth is flat because I see it this way. And they do all sorts of linguistic and mental gymnastics to make their point, and they just end up flat on their ass or face. That's the thing That's the fucked up part about it. You're starting from your conclusion and working your way back to come up with the problem. Like, no, that's not how shit works, man. That's not how shit works. But let's continue.
Savvy viewers may be remembering another political philosophy that is hierarchical, undemocratic, built on nostalgia, and that likes to cloak its policies in progressive camouflage, and that's the one from 2 videos ago. Fascism. Oh, golly. Now, I am not calling conservatives fascists. There are distinctions.
No, but fascists use the languages of conservatism to make sure they get what they want done. In the end, they actually fascists just use the language of conservatives. That I can't say it any fucking better way. And then conservatives, when they see fascism, they're not together. They just mess around every once in a while. But let's continue.
Under fascism, the hierarchy is much, much less meritocratic, and the nostalgia is much, much older. However, conservative thinking is, at the very least, one that fascism maps more cleanly onto. Fascists appeal to this hierarchical mindset by portraying all of history as struggles between ethnic groups over who gets to be where. Someone's gotta be at the bottom, white man. We'll make sure it isn't you. You'll find throughout history that fascist movements, though they often pick up dissidents from all over the political spectrum, the third position, for instance, is fascism for anti-capitalists, when they find purchase in a political party, it's pretty much always the conservative party. Look at France, look at Brazil, look at here. Whether you want to interpret that as conservatism being uniquely susceptible to fascists, or diet fascism being another name for conservatism, I leave that up to you.
Now, that is kind of poison in the well. It is, and I would have to say it is one of those things where you kind of like, let's just be honest, dude has a liberal tent. We're not gonna lie about it. Yeah, that was kind of a poke right there, but what can you say? But let's continue.
Fascism, and to an extent libertarianism, are roided up extrapolations of the hierarchical mindset, in the same way socialism and anarchy are extrapolations of the egalitarian one. We can...
So, that's the key thing. So, this is my problem that I've ever had with libertarians. You want to devolve into a state where might makes right, and it's just like, what the fuck, man? We've had that shit before. Where there's no government, no central government. No, we've had that shit for. It's called fucking the worst times in the motherfucking history, where you have Roman states of people who would enforce their will on other motherfuckers. I'm sorry. I don't want to go back to that. I'm lazy and I like modern conveniences. Yes, shit. And this is the key thing about just looking at where we're at. Like, you can't just have this system of, like, this is the reason why I left religion, because you have this thing, it's like, you follow the lead. And a lot of times the people that are in lead, they are out for themselves. And, you know, no, not for me. And let me just go ahead and put this barrier back up. I know what happened. So he was following me, and when he was following me, he stopped following me to the place that I needed him to go. Okay, so he returned back to where I actually had him. Let's go ahead and put him in this room, because I'm just that asshole. We're going to keep you in this room. We're going to keep you with brothers. When you're ready, when I'm ready, when they're ready, we're going to put you there. All right, cool. Let's continue.
and see conservatism as a kind of compromise between fascism and democracy, and liberalism as a kind of compromise between capitalism and socialism. They are two different attempts to solve the tensions between these ways of thinking without giving either one up. You could just as easily claim that liberalism is watered-down, ineffectual socialism. A lot of the left would balk at that, but not me, pinko scum that I am. The most important thing to understand is that you cannot communicate with nor anticipate the behaviors of a conservative if you don't understand what they believe, which is hard because they're often in denial. You will never convince them to compromise on any attempt to break up the hierarchy, because even incremental change strikes them as revolutionary, and they feel they've made too many concessions already. You will never get them of their own free will to agree to government regulation, because the government as a democratic institution is inherently unnatural. If you don't like what a business is doing, you don't regulate it, you take your money elsewhere. You should favor the capitalist solution, not the democratic one.
So, that's the key fucking thing. Because corporatism has fucking has actually killed capitalism. Like, for real. Like, you actually see where the whole thing about pricing people out of the market to the point where you're the only competition. Fucking monopolies. And the last time we had so many motherfucking monopolies as we're building towards right now, we had a fucking stock market crash. Little companies buying out bigger companies buying out little companies. That's if you don't have controls or constraints on it. It leads to it leads to situations where there's only one game in town, and when you have that issue, it's devastating. It's fucking devastating. But alright guys, let's let this video play out, and I'm gonna be doing more Conan later on. Well, once I get off stream, I want to kind of get this video out this week. I may actually stream tomorrow, but let's continue.
Also, when you vote with your dollar, people with more dollars get more votes. They will never be on board with aiding the poor in any systemic way and will instead champion charity and crowdfunding, because minnows getting to eat should always be framed as a gift rather than a right. You may get individual conservatives to come around on some of these, but as a body, they will never consent to any of it unless they can work it to their advantage, or if you have leverage over them. They will sign on when denying progressivism costs them something, because few things terrify them more than slipping down the hierarchy. And what's insidious is that most of us have this thinking ingrained in our own minds as well, myself included. We're all raised in the same culture. This is why they're able to control the conversation, because they can, with some priming, get us thinking in their terms. A nice upshot is our thinking is also ingrained in their minds, though they're a little bit better at fighting it. But as long as you're trying to meet this mentality in the middle, you are leaving the door open for fascists. Conservatism is, and always will be, vulnerable to them. A good defense against fascism is to consciously, intentionally, think and act in democratic terms. Because, newsflash, we're not actually lobsters. Neither of these systems is natural. They are choices we can make. I recommend this one because egalitarian thinking is one thing Nazis are bad at infiltrating. If you want to fight fascism, move left.
Alright, so let's just talk about this and why I have a fucking fascist video game planned. So, let's dissect this. So, fun fact, I have dabbled in the polyamorous community. That's not a big secret for those of you guys who watch. And whereas it's different from what people would have the swinger community, where it's just like, no, we do like, and even in that community, you have to actually treat people with respect. You have to actually ask for consent. You have to actually engage with people other than just they're there to just please you, to be successful. And if you can't do that, if you can't, it's gonna fuck shit up. And not in a fun kind of way. When you have a mentality of know your place versus me putting you in your place, because, and that's the thing, nobody who's a conservative wants to put somebody in their place. They really don't. Because they're scared of being put in their place themselves. They want people to voluntarily know their place. If you've ever actually seen it, go back to your own country. Or you should shut up, implying that they should know better than to challenge you. Versus people who challenge fucking power. And it's frightening when you think that you have this power, that somebody shouldn't challenge you. And that's how you know that it's paper thin, that you think that your power isn't as sustainable as you want it to believe. The fucking Orange Baboon is the reason why he has been doing campaign events since he stopped, since the president, he, quite literally, the day after he took office, he applied to be the president in run for president in 2020. Because he knows his win was fragile. And if we had a direct election, he wouldn't have won. That's why he's always talking about crowd size. That's what he's always talking about, how people love him, and from what he hears, people love him. Motherfucker, you're so fucking insecure. And that's what these people are. They're insecure about their win. Where you can actually have a democracy, where you know people who give you one man, one vote, they actually want to have it. But no, you have to bluster. And that shows that thinking of the hierarchical system that you see is detrimental, not only for the people that's at the bottom, for the people at the top, because they're always fearing to be drugged back down. But anyway, guys, it's me, Crimson60620, and I'm going to throw this in chat if you haven't seen this yet. Hi, Zubs. Thank you for watching. And if you want to actually check out my merch store on Streamlabs, you can actually look at my merch store. I have t-shirts. Yay. And the characters on them I designed myself, so yay for the most part. But anyway, I want to thank everybody who's watched, and check out the links in the show notes description. Peace.